She wasn't aware of the hidden agenda of her psychotic boyfriend, Bob. Mother, may I sleep with danger?
Hello, everyone. What's up, Erff? Welcome to Time of My Lifetime, your favorite Lifetime movie podcast, where we watch an old Lifetime movie from the 80s or 90s and make fun of it, and we think you should too. I am Rocky, and I am here with my two very, very good friends and co-hosts. I'm here with the lovely and talented Jordan W. Hello, Jordan W. How are you?
When you said lovely and talented, I assumed you were going for our other host.
I know, misdirect.
I was getting ready to say something.
Trickery.
And next,
I was like, because for the record, I am neither. So
well, it was a twist like this movie.
And our other co-host is also very lovely and talented.
Well, I was gonna say she's
Jules,
scruffy and grumpy.
Jules.
The scruffy and grumpy Jules M. Hello, Jules.
I can be scruffy and grumpy.
Yeah.
We're complex people. We're all things.
Lovely, talented, scruffy, grumpy. We run the gamut, the spectrum. Don't put me in a box. So, how is everyone tonight?
Good.
The weather in DC is really nice. I just have to say, it's cool. There's no humidity, and I realize how that has such an effect on my mood.
Oh. Well, I have to say, that's wonderful. I missed you guys. I missed DC. I have to say, the weather here in Minnesota has been gorgeous for the last couple of weeks. Well, for the past couple of months, really. Sorry.
Nice.
Sorry about that. But yeah, it's cool and gorgeous and awesome. Yeah. So I want to hear about your dance performance, Jules. I want to hear about the Beyonce. Tell me all about it.
Well, I'm working on a dance piece with some friends. It's not my concept, rather the concept of a friend. But we're creating it collaboratively. There's a lot of improvisation that happens, and I think one particular improvisation that ended up staying in the piece that I think you appreciate is, I don't know why we talk about Beyonce a lot
because why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? I think it started with me recording a video of myself in the courtyard of my office building, just saying Beyonce, really deadpan to the screen.
Beyonce.
And then and sending it to them. And then we were in rehearsal a couple weeks ago, and this other performer, Jessica, and I just started saying Beyonce back and forth to each other in like really different, interesting ways.
I love it. I love it.
Don't worry, Beyonce. Daughter of Tina, mother of Blue, lives today.
Sister of Solange, lover of Popeyes.
House of Darion.
Yes. Hold me tighter than my Darion jeans.
There's like a back and forth that goes on in the dance, which is pretty fun, which I think you recorded.
It's beautiful, and will you record it?
I don't know if I can. Maybe somebody will.
Well, somebody should, and we should put it on our Tumblr, because that's amazing. Or we could just do like a little improv performance right now. Beyonce. Are you happy to be in Paris? Okay, or not, whatever.
Do we still have a Tumblr?
Yeah, and we just never use it. I completely forgot about it. We have a Tumblr, we have a Twitter, we have all of these things, and I never remembered to mention any of those things. Not that anyone's like listening to this, but
no, I mean we have at least tens of fans. So
I think we have 11 subscribers.
We have. I mean, that's moving at an exponential rate, if you ask me.
And one of those subscribers is our friend Katie, whose phone I took and then subscribed to it for her on her phone.
Hey,
so I don't know if that counts.
If that's what it takes, you know.
All right, well, you know, popularity didn't come cheaply or with dignity, I suppose.
It's catching on, though.
So, Jordan, what are you up to these days?
Oh, nothing. Working and, just working and hanging out. Not a lot of excitement. I get out of my house a lot now, more than I was before, and
because you just started a new job.
Forget, Yeah. What's that?
Wait, what did you say? Because it's hot?
No, I said never mind. I said it's hot. You forget when you never go outdoors.
Oh, you poor
summertime.
guy.
Yeah, Jules is right though. It has been beautiful here, so I get to experience that now. And I'm back working in an office again for the first time in a couple of years with other people. And without getting into specifics, it takes some adjustments going back from working alone.
Girl, get into
every day.
specifics. Come on, you're among friends. You're in a safe space.
No, it's a good place to work. I really enjoy it, and there's some interesting people there. And we can leave it at that.
Oh, because you told everyone about this that you work with. Okay. Does anyone actually listen to it? Does anyone come up to you and say, like, oh, I enjoyed your...
Probably not, but who knows?
Oh, well, all right. Well, you never know.
I really enjoy almost everybody I work with.
Well, send them another inter-office voicemail after we put this one out.
I will, for the new episode. I did tell one person that we were doing this, and I don't think she knew the movie, which is a shame, because can we please start talking about this movie?
Well, nobody asked how I was, but I'm fine. Thank you, guys. Whatever.
We caught up. We caught up before we started? Okay.
Rude.
Can we please talk about this movie, though?
Yes,
had either of you seen this?
No, I'd never seen it before.
Okay.
I thought that I had seen it because of the type. I feel like I'm familiar with it, so I thought I had seen it.
I thought so too, like cultural osmosis or something. But
yeah. But once I actually watched it, I realized I have never seen it because it legitimately terrified me.
It's funny because I also feel like I had seen it and never did. It's like a Berenstein Bears type situation. Are you all familiar with that?
Yeah, I've actually read the Berenstein. Have you never actually read the Berenstein Bears?
No, sorry, that's not what I meant. I meant, are you familiar? Like, how do you spell Berenstein?
Berestein.
Okay.
Is that right?
I think you transposed a couple of the letters that you meant, but it's okay. Jules, how do you spell Berenstein as in Berenstein Bears?
Okay, you're saying Berenstein, so I'm going to say Berenstein.
Oh, wait, is it Bear? Because Bear and Steen?
Well, do you all remember? Is that what you remember it being when you were kids? The Berenstein Bears?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm conflating them and the gummy bears in my mind, but...
Would it blow your mind if they were not the Berenstein Bears, but they were actually the Berenstein Bears, and it's actually spelled Berenstein?
What?
Like the Berenstain Bears?
Yes, it's Berenstain Bears. But nobody remembers it that way.
Let's follow the Berenstein Bears.
That's right.
That's what it is.
I just thought they were a bunch of like Jewish bears.
That's what I
hang out
thought.
and like doing stuff.
No, it's Stain. Anyway, that made me think of it because I also felt like I had seen this movie and I hadn't. But we all felt that way, just like we all feel like it's the Berenstein Bears, but it's not. It's the Berenstutz, or it's whatever the fuck it is.
Have we even like said what the movie is?
No.
Okay. We watched Mother May I Sleep with Danger from 1996, starring Tori Spelling and Ivan Sergey and a very determined mom.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Like this, I feel like this whole movie was just like just a mom fantasy. Like, do you guys ever like sit around maybe and like think about like, you know, oh, like what if my mother or my significant other or my, you know, one of my siblings were in danger and I was the only one that could save them, and then like you go through like this whole like action movie in your mind?
Yeah.
Because I do that sometimes, you know, like what if, you know, Dennis was kidnapped by ISIS or something, I don't know.
So when you do this, like, yours is more of, like, a fantasy as, like, a hero?
Yeah, like, I go in and I, like, you know, go all, like, Chuck Norris on all these, like, ISIS dudes, and then, like, you know...
That's so close of you. Mine comes from a different place. Like, I kind of have that, but it's usually from a place of deep anxiety where, like, my boyfriend is traveling and I haven't heard from him in a few hours, and therefore I assume that he has been abducted. And I go through this scenario of, like, who do I contact? The consulate? The embassy? When do I call his mom?
When do I call the President of the United States?
I have those too.
Usually I think, like, something horrible has happened when nothing horrible has happened.
Yeah,
Right.
so you go to the worst place.
I go to the worst place, and then I figure out, well, what would I do what would I have to do? So it's not so heroic.
I do that too. But see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, whoever wrote this movie is coming from that place. Like, what if my daughter was like...
I love you calling it a mom fantasy. I think it is such a mom fantasy.
It's such a mom fantasy.
Well, like, and then a mom nightmare and fantasy at the same time.
I love that you say that because I mean I totally agree, and I didn't have that perspective at all until you said it. But you're right. That wasn't my perspective on the movie at all. But you're absolutely right.
No, this is what all of our moms, like, thought about at least once when we left for college. Like, what if he finds an unsuitable boy, and I'm the only one that can save him, and then at the end he comes to mom, and I can save him again.
Yeah. See, for me, I was too focused on the fact that it seemed like this movie was written and put together in a matter of hours, and somewhere along the way they lost, like, several pages of the script, and they were just like, fuck it. And,
You know what? The writing was so bad, the acting was so bad, and
So
I have to
bad.
tell you that I wanted this movie to be over so much, and I was mad at you, Jordan, for picking it. And I wanted it to be over until the last 15 minutes, which it became my favorite movie that we've ever done. What?
Why the last 15 minutes? I enjoyed every single minute of this movie.
Well, because the last 15 minutes were when they both got, like, Aquaman powers, and then she's hiding the oar in her oversized 90s sweater, and the mom getting impaled on that tree.
Her paddling in the canoe?
Oh, yes. And try, like, I thought there was going to be a boat chase.
I did too!
But then she got out of the motorboat and got into the canoe, and then it's like, where is he? Oh no, he turned into Aquaman, and now he's under the boat, and now the boat's capsized. It was everything. It was like that.
I legitimately thought that that scene was going to end in, like, a Last Mohican style, like, canoe race, where she was going to have to, like, go over the falls to get away from him.
Yeah.
No, but mom came in and saved her. Like, every mom wishes that she could, and probably should.
What was your overall take on it?
I was pretty invested in it. I watched it with Mel, and we were really enjoying it. I got really annoyed at Tori Spelling a number of times.
Well, yeah.
Yelled at her at the screen because there's just so many red flags, and God, she just made so many wrong decisions.
So many. Well, we're gonna have to dive deep into at least a couple of them.
I just don't understand. It's like, if you're gonna, like, catfish as someone, if you're gonna take somebody's, like, identity, like the dude did in this movie, why would you take a med student's identity and then never go to class and never study? That should have been her first red flag right there, because every med student I've ever known, that's all they do. They go to class and they study.
Yeah, he was napping, like, in the middle of the day. She would show up. And
No
just, like,
med student has ever napped at, like, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday.
Well, Tori Spelling wasn't the brightest character.
I bet he was napping because he was so depressed because she rejected him. He couldn't get out of bed.
Well, yeah, and then he gets kicked out of med school. You don't have time for depression in med school.
Also, it doesn't seem like a good idea to steal the identity of someone who is still alive.
And who you know.
And who's coming to the college where you are currently catfishing as him next semester.
There was a lot of major plot holes in this movie. And so the thing I also wanted to, when I say I feel like they lost pages of the script along the way, this movie just launched right into it. Like,
oh yeah.
A lot of Lifetime movies about like shitty guys. Like Rocky, we did one of our podcasts before, the one with Christopher Maloney. Like the guy that she's dating. There's a good 30 minutes of that movie where he's like very charming and very smooth, and there's no red flags, and everything is so nice.
That was a beautiful date that he took her on.
You're on day one.
Yeah, he's just crazy right off the bat.
And it's like you don't even see them like. You don't even see them meet, though. It's like that other guy, like at the very beginning of the movie, that other guy like tries to ask her out, and she says like no, and she's trying to like put him off, and she's trying to be like nice about it, and then he's being like kind of insistent, and then finally she's like, I've already started to see somebody, and then runs away. And so it's like, oh, they've already met, they've already had their meet cute, so he's just psycho from second one that we meet him as viewers.
I also wanted to say about that interaction you just spoke of, there was a cute moment, which doesn't usually happen in Lifetime movies, like, but when she's talking to that guy and he's asking her out, he's being a little too persistent, and clearly she's in a hurry because she was running so fast.
So fast.
I've never seen anyone run, and he stopped her she was sprinting, and he stopped her and was like, today, tomorrow, blah. It's like, dude, she's in a hurry. Like, pick up on some signals. You're so dense. But when he's like, my band's playing, and she's like, I'm trying not to see guys in bands anymore, he said, we're not like a good band. That was really funny and really cute.
That was funny.
He was like,
I have to
the
get
school
that.
paper called us contrived and boring, and he had like the review from like the school paper like in his back pocket. Like, I don't know.
Well, should we go back a little bit and just sort of do a quick synopsis?
Yeah, okay.
Jordan?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Tori Spelling is dating this guy who she thinks is Kevin Jones, or it's Kevin something, but turns out to be Billy Jones.
Yeah.
And Billy Jones had actually stolen Kevin's identity.
Kevin Shane.
And he had you find out that he had murdered his ex-girlfriend, and he's like, he won't let Tori Spelling be alone, and meanwhile she's got this very close relationship with her mother, and her mother is suspicious of him off the bat, blah blah blah. He starts stalking her, sort of, or not really stalking, I guess he kidnaps her, and
yeah, he totally kidnaps her.
Yeah,
that's 100% kidnap.
And eventually her mother saves the day after a canoe chase. I don't know how to explain this movie.
It's a lot. So like Tori Spelling is she's like a go-getter. She's a rock star student.
Yeah, she's got a fellowship to go to China.
Yeah, and she's wearing...
She's a runner.
Mm-hmm.
Very type A, very...
She's got her shit together. She's got her shit together. And she's wearing that crazy mousy brunette wig.
She kind of has her shit together. Because she also suffers from an eating disorder.
Right. Which is...
She's recovering.
Recovering, yeah. She's recovering.
I think recovering. Are you ever fully recovering?
Oh, okay. Recovering.
But so then she goes... She's trying out for the track and field team. She goes to the practice, and the coach takes her aside, and she's like, hey, look, I think you're overtraining. I want to, talk to you about your health. And she's like, what are you talking about? I beat so-and-so by a minute. And she's like, well, your mother came and said that you had an eating disorder, and she, must have been important if she drove 2 hours to come tell us this, yada, yada, yada. So she gets, super mad, and then cut to her doing laundry in her dorm with her mother sitting on one of the washing machines trying to explain herself. And that's when I was like, no.
When do moms go and hang out at colleges?
I'm just saying.
Lorelai Gilmore is the only mom who is allowed to go and hang out at colleges because she's a cool mom.
But yeah, there was so many things in this movie that like made no sense or otherwise just insane. Like I really think.
But that
I
whole
really think-
conversation, though, when they're in the laundry room and they're having this fight, and, like, Tori Spelling is like, you are too involved in my life. And, like, her mom's like, well, I'm just looking out for you. And I'm like, no, you're sitting on the washing machine in the basement of her dorm. You are too involved in her life. Like,
Yeah.
go back to Seattle and do something, Mom. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. But then I guess they come to like a sort of like detente where it's like the mom's like, okay, I'll stop getting in your business if you start like, you know, being cool or whatever. Or like, you know, you take care of your health or whatever. And then like, okay, Mom. And then everything's fine. And then I'm dating this guy and let's have dinner. Like Lifetime movie trope.
But naturally. But the thing is, you know, a lot of times the Lifetime movie trope is they'll have dinner after going on like 1 or 2 dates. In this case, they'd already been in some sort of established relationship. I don't know how long it's been.
It didn't seem like it was for very long.
Not that long, but that's just it. Like we're given no sense of time because like they're already together when the movie starts, and then he goes when they have dinner at her house. She's like, "Look at the ring he gave me," and she's wearing.
Is that an engagement ring?
She's wearing an engagement. I don't know if it's an engagement ring, but she's wearing a ring on her
her left hand. She's wearing a ring on her left ring finger with a clear. It's a gold band with a clear stone.
Oh, it looks like an engagement ring,
Yeah.
and I don't understand how no one. And she's like, he must like me. I don't understand why they didn't show us him, like them meeting and him courting her, because from the moment we meet him and her, he is a weirdo.
He's bizarre. He's so bizarre.
Way of talking, like he's clearly not all there. Like that's evident from the very beginning. So it's like, why did she fall for him?
I mean, I just feel like
that's exactly
anyone
what I said
with half a
before.
brain.
Like, we didn't get that 20 minutes or whatever of them like having a good relationship before he went crazy. It's so weird.
It's so strange because it just seems to me that anyone with half a brain would like be able to like when they're sitting there at dinner and he's all like, yes, you know, last summer I interned at CareShares. And the mom is like, oh, CareShares, what a wonderful organization. You know, I know Dr. Zola, he's on the board. And like, he's just like, mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yeah, let's talk about anything except for Dr. Zola. All right? It's... I really feel like the first 20 minutes of this was left on the cutting room floor because it so much of this just makes no sense.
And I think literally 20 minutes were left on the cutting room floor because the editing is so crazy. It's insane. Just random slow-mo shots and just weird just flares and
close-ups of his hands
like his nervous tick.
Rolling a fucking piece of snot between his fingers.
They focus in on that 4 times.
But because they do this point of view shot of him stalking her while she's, having a paper fight on the quad with her friends, or at a show dancing and he's outside, and then they just as if we don't understand as viewers that this is the psychotic person stalking her. They have to zero in, zoom up close on his twitching fingers rolling the snot.
Also, they could have made his stalking more subtle. They could have. So the audience was also. We were left wondering, he seemed like such a great guy, but wait, these strange things are happening, and he's having these I don't know. I just feel like there was nothing left to the imagination. Clearly he's a psychopath.
Yeah, very early on, within the first 10 minutes, when he barges into her dorm room, he follows her in. She's like, "This isn't a co-ed dorm. You can't be here." And he chases her to her room. And as soon as he gets in her dorm room, her 2 roommates just flee the scene,
run into the bathroom.
They both run into the bathroom. They're just like, "Oh, we've seen this before," but us as the viewer, we've never seen this before. So it's just kind of The roommate's behavior
But-
is so strange.
But the thing is like, maybe they've seen it before, but clearly they're freaked out. So it's just like, and they just come out, and they're just like, oh, is he gone? And she's like, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with him. And they're like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, why you wouldn't be like, because apparently this, like, a number of the characters in the movie have cell phones. So I don't know why one of those girls didn't take her cell phone into the bathroom and call 911.
Not good roommates.
No.
I don't know why Tori Spelling doesn't have a cell phone.
Why didn't she have a cell phone? Her mom had a cell phone. Her mom let her share her AAA membership. Might as well buy her a phone.
Membership prominently featured in this movie.
Her, that AAA membership was what unraveled the whole mystery. Thank you, AAA.
But, like, another really bad editing thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, there's a scene where she's, like, at the bar where the guy plays music, and outside you can see his little motorbike getting, like, beat to shit.
Do you mean his when he's playing music with his band rhymes with orange?
Yes,
with no H in rhymes.
Yes.
It's just
When
R-Y, I mean, rhymies with orange.
Yeah, but you know, Kevin, like, destroys his motorbike outside of the club, and it's like, it's never mentioned. It's never. And the next time we see that guy, he's like riding the motorbike like nothing had happened to it.
Well, what's also crazy about that scene is, so he destroys the motorbike. He goes inside. He sees them dancing together. He goes into the bath. He follows motorcycle dude into the bathroom while he's peeing in the urinal.
You're getting confused. That's later.
Yeah,
Wait,
that is
what?
later.
There's two instances at the club. The first doesn't interact with motorcycle guy. He just destroys his bike.
Oh,
Later
he
on.
destroys it twice?
No, later on, he just goes to the club and beats up motorcycle guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, that's why it's even weirder, because he destroys it again pretty early into the movie, and then like that never is it mentioned. That guy's never like, I think your boyfriend like destroyed my bike. Like, it's never talked about. It just is a thing that happens.
Well, it still speaks to my point though, because when he goes, and the second time, I guess they're at the club, he like goes into the bathroom. Dude is peeing in the urinal, motorcycle guy. And he's like, don't ever dance with my girlfriend ever again, blah, 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 blah. And kicks his ass while his dick is still out. Like, he's still peeing.
So cold. That is so cold. It's like, he had disadvantage. He had his dick out against the wall, and he gets his ass beat.
Like, that's not cool. So, A, that's not cool. B, then, he goes back out onto the dance floor, finds Tori Spelling, is like, hey, baby, like, can we go outside and talk? I'm so sorry. I know, everything's my fault. And she's like, fine. We can go outside and just talk. And so they go outside and talk. Some dude accidentally brushes him against the shoulder, and he pulls out a switchblade.
Wait, did he pull out I didn't see that.
Yes, he pulls out a switchblade, and then like he's beating the dudes up, like him and his friends who like bumped into him, because like they run away, and then Tori Spelling is gone, and he throws the switchblade down the street.
Oh, I must have missed that, because that, for me, that was one of the crazier moments in the movie, because because like some guy's just like, oh, excuse me, man. He's like, what? I'll kill you! And he beats up, he pummels like 8 guys.
And pulls out a switchblade. You guys didn't hear the ching?
No,
I have to admit, the quality of the YouTube video
was bad.
best, and I saw no switchblade.
Yeah, I believe you that it was there, but I agree. I didn't see it, but the quality, it wasn't the best quality.
Well, I guess that it was a switchblade because he was making a stabbing motion. Also, he pulled something out of his pocket. It went ching, and then at the end, he threw it down the street.
I just know that he
was
turned
totally
into like the Incredible Hulk and beat up like 8 guys.
He turned into a total monster.
You know, and if I'm Tori Spelling at that point, I'm just considering this relationship a total loss. It's like, you can keep my stuff, you can keep my sweaters, or whatever. I'm moving on. You can keep the dishes that I left at your place. I'm moving on. But she just keeps
going back to get her stuff. Oh, it was so infuriating.
Like, why?
Can we talk about that? Because that's the thing I didn't quite understand. He moves them. He moves her out of her dorm room into like a cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
This is so confusing.
It's confounding. It's just
he was
confounding.
Gonna buy it? Like, he bought them a cabin in the woods, which was like 2 hours away.
Well, he said he leased it.
Okay, but it's like clearly it's far away from campus. It's far away from her friends. I like when, and she just moves out without telling anyone, and then they're at this cabin. And first of all, we should say that throughout this whole relationship, I mean, we kind of skipped ahead because there's been a few other things that happened. Like,
go back as far as you want.
Please.
Well, just like few things that happened with their relationship. So he meets the mom. The scene that I liked was when the mom, like, the joke is that she's a really bad cook, doesn't know how to cook, like, made a frozen pizza for them for dinner, and he's like, "Oh, this is
that
delicious."
was cute. That was cute.
But then when the doorbell
When
the doorbell was ringing, she just threw the packaging into the kitchen. That was really a wonderful flourish. But anyway, so Tori Spelling and this guy are getting hot and heavy, and one day they're like lounging outside, and he's like admiring her, and he says, "You are almost the perfect woman." He says, "You are so close to the perfect woman." And then he like touches her mousy brown hair, and he says,
Her mousy brown wig.
"Yeah,
That
he's
wig
like,
was so...
thought about going blonde because you'd be a knockout." And she's like, "My mom would kill me." And he's like, "Your mom is trying to destroy us." He's like, "I'll show you. I'll prove it to you." And then the next shot is her calling her mom from a payphone. So some people have cell phones, some people have payphones. I guess that is pretty realistic.
Yeah, 1996, yeah.
But you would think that this mom would want her daughter to have a cell phone.
Yeah.
Single mom, only child.
Yeah.
Well, that way she wouldn't have to drive 2 hours to sit on the washing machine in her dorm room. She could just call her.
So I don't know. And then the next shot is them like going to dinner again at her mom's house, and she shows up as a blonde. And when she shows up as a blonde, I think that's when the mom's like, the mom doesn't say anything. She
It cuts.
to him bearing flowers, red roses with baby's breath, which grossed me out for some reason.
Yeah, it's bad.
Gave it to her, and she's like, "Well, thank you." And then all of a sudden, Tori Spelling, who promised her mother a surprise, comes around the corner with her new blonde hair, and her mom doesn't say anything except, "Come inside."
I had no idea that. Like,
is she proving the point? Like, is this the point of the dinner? Because then I think the dinner ended, and then it was like, see, your mom's against us, and she hates your hair. Like, I don't know what.
Her mother was so like aghast at the hair. It's like all she did was dye it blonde. It's not like she like showed up at home with a face tattoo.
She dyed it blonde and cut it short, so she looked exactly like.
It was like a tasteful blonde haircut that enhanced her, quite frankly.
Well, because she looked like Tori Spelling, the Tori Spelling we all know and love, like 90s Tori Spelling. Like, she looks like the way she's supposed to look, you know?
Yeah.
And we find out in like the weirdest way, I think, why he wanted her to look like that. It's because his first girlfriend, who we find out he had murdered.
You know what? The timeline of that is so convoluted to me. Like,
the
this
whole movie is convoluted.
I think we should talk about the interactions between the mom and the police, because
girl.
also the question, how long, like, when they moved to the cabin without a trace, no phone, how long was she there before her mom found her? Like, it just seemed like it was insane.
There's also a conversation. The mother has solved the mystery. She finds out that Kevin Jones is not who he says he is. She realizes that he had murdered his previous girlfriend. She gets on the phone with one of the detectives and is just like, I forget what she says exactly, but she's just like, "My daughter is with a murderer right now."
Click.
And she just hangs up the phone.
That was my favorite thing. She's like, I faxed you the picture of Billy Jones. Oh my God, this is him. My daughter is with a murderer. Bye.
And she hangs up the phone. Like,
And then she's at the Seattle Police Department, and she's like, "You don't understand, officer. My daughter, she's with a murderer. We have to do something. She's gone missing. I don't know where she is, but I know she's with this murderer." And of course, the shitty cop is like, "Ma'am, I have daughters myself. I understand, but there's nothing I could do until we have more evidence. My hands are tied." Da 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 da. And then he drives away, and then she takes out her giant cell phone and calls up the Denver police officer that she was talking to, and then she's not there, and it's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have hung up the phone on her. I mean, in terms of comedy, it was a brilliant. Like, my daughter is with a killer. Click. Bye.
It's like, do you have an idea, where they might be? Nothing.
Because it's not like she, hung up the phone and then ran out to, go find her.
No.
I know. She busts the tires of her car, at the police department, right?
Yeah. Because she drove over the spike stick or whatever it's called.
Why didn't she go back into the police department and say, my daughter just used my AAA card. I know where they are. Come with me. She just went by herself.
Because she knew those shitty cops wouldn't help. They're shitty cops from a Lifetime movie.
I have to mention the reason that they're even in this situation is because Tori Spelling has finally had enough. She's going to break up with him. She goes back to the cabin again to get her dishes or cookware or whatever she's gone back for because she's a moron. And he tries to stop her from leaving, and she gets in the car to escape from him. And he comes out with a bottle of wine, and he's like, "One last toast before you leave." And she's like, "Okay." And they have a drink.
I mean, I guess I could see where she was coming from, because she was like, all right, if I drink this wine, then, he'll just leave me alone and I can leave.
But I also want to say so he convinces her to move to this house in the woods, fucks up her car so she can't leave, says he called the phone company to have a phone installed but never did, and it seems like everything's fine, they just got there, and yet she goes to start her car and it doesn't work, so she ends up walking and having the biker or the band guy come and pick her up on his motorcycle and take her to campus. And then all of a sudden, something switches completely, and she's like, "I know he did it. I know he cut my car off. I know." All of a sudden, she has this realization that he's a horrible person and has been doing all these things. Where did that come from? It came out of left field.
I don't think it did, though, because obviously there are all these sort of signs, and she's taking them in, and you can tell that she's sort of taking them in, because that one scene where she comes home and he's cooking, and then he cuts his finger chopping a cucumber, and then freaks the fuck out for no reason, but he keeps badly manipulating her that night, she's freaked out, and then that night they're sitting by this roaring fire, drinking wine, and he's eating a carrot. And and he's like, "You haven't touched your food." And she's like, "I'm not really that hungry." And he's like, "Oh, really? Because your mom called and told me you have an eating disorder." And she's like, "What? She did?" And then he's like, "I'm the only one that cares about you." And then they make love in front of the roaring fireplace. And their lovemaking is so epic that they spill the bottle of wine. And that's unrealistic.
How did he...
They're very sexually into each other.
Oh, his dick must be so good. That's why she stays.
They're so fucking into him.
That dick must be so good. He must do things that...
He's so into him.
How did he find out about the eating disorder?
I have no idea.
LS, and I feel we know that he stalked her and checked her messages. He knows everything about her, so I feel it's just implied that he's collected that information. But yeah, it would have been nice if we had seen him get that information or something.
There's no exposition to anything. It's the same thing. So she goes back to escape from him. He offers her a glass of wine. Meanwhile, she was in a car, like, driving away. He's like, have a drink with me. And she's like, okay. And then it cuts immediately to him, like, carrying her lifeless body back into the cabin. Like there wasn't even, like, obviously he drugged her, but it was such a weird cut. Like, there wasn't even a sentence of her being like, I feel woozy or anything. It was just, like, hard cut to her being lifeless and in his arms.
And it also, like, was just... The whole exchange was strange because, like, it wasn't, like, red or white. It was, like, this brown liquid in a wine... in a wine bottle that he served to her in a mason jar.
It was whiskey.
It was what?
It was a bottle of whiskey.
But it was in a wine bottle, and he drank his out of a wine glass. Well, I guess they're college students. They don't have stemware.
None of it made any sense. Also, she's like, I gotta get in my car and drive back to school for an hour. You know what would be good before I go? A shot for the road. Like,
well, like I said, I think she just probably was thinking, like, let me get away from this dude. If he wants to have a drink, I'll have a drink.
But she was already behind the wheel. She could have driven away.
No, she wasn't. She was shoving her stuff in the trunk.
The thing is, and hadn't she just moments before pushed him out of the way and ran to her car?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Like, this is the thing. Maybe it was because the film quality was not good, and so I couldn't see expressions very well on the faces of these people. But, like, my impression was, like, at no point was she suspicious of him, and then all of a sudden, she's like, he's doing all these things. I'm like, what? How do you know? And then she goes to the house and is like, I don't know why she didn't call her mother, because her mother is looking for her. Her mother and her friends have no idea where she is. When her mother goes to campus, tries to find him, and he's like, we're in love, and you can't do anything about it, and he speeds away. One, she could have done that again and followed him back to the house to find her. Two, she's like the mother is talking to Tori's friend, and Tori's friend's like, no, you're like, yeah, he's such a creep, or I don't know what she said, but she's like, you know, Tori never wants to do anything. She's always with that guy. And then her mom's like, oh, am I just being silly worrying about her? And her friend's like, no. I mean, she cleaned out her whole apartment like 3 days ago and like didn't even build it all. Like, nothing's left. And her mom's like, why should I be worried? And then they like laughed together. It was so bizarre.
It was
like,
so bizarre. It was so
bizarre.
bizarre.
Like, I don't know what the timeline was. I don't know how long she was missing. But when she finally broke away from him and had this realization, why didn't she just like go to her mom or like stay with friends? Like, she clearly didn't realize that he was as dangerous. But I can't believe she went back to the house to get her shit, gives a shit about your dumb ass.
Without anyone. Like, why would she go by herself?
Someone, exactly. Why wouldn't you bring a friend?
The thing that was
dangerous. I think she thought he was, and she wanted to get out of the relationship.
But the thing is
hurt her.
But the thing is that the mom knew how dangerous it was because, like, she, like, waited around on campus for her for, like, an entire day, didn't see her, finally saw him, runs up to him and is like, where's my daughter, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, she listens to me now. She'd rather die than have you break up our love. And then, like, drives away. That's when I'm like, okay, if I'm the mom, I'm like, okay, either A, I'm getting in my car and following you, B, I'm calling the police and telling them what you said and getting them involved. Like, so many things. And then also, it's like Tori Spelling clearly has been going back and forth from this cabin in the woods back to campus. She's done it a couple of times. And, like, at least, like, you know, when he fucked with her car, she caught a ride with, like, motorbike guy and went back to campus. There are phones on campus. She's sitting there being like, he never called for a phone installation. He lied to me. Well, now you're at a place with phones. You are at a place with an abundance of phones, and even if somebody won't let you use their office phone, I'm sure you have changed. You can use a payphone. People have cell phones in this universe.
This movie was one bad decision after another, and just no rhyme or reason to anything Tori Spelling did for the duration of the movie. And you're right, he must have his dick, really. Yeah,
It
I
must
agree.
be long and strong and in charge and
Do we want to
and
get to
doing mouth and finger stuff and
Mention a few random moments that I like.
oh,
Please.
please do.
Keeping in line with the joke that the mom's a really bad cook. Birthday party for the grandmother or the aunt. He's icing a cake and the cake so poorly, like can't do it. And then Tori Spelling comes in and is like, "I got it, mom." But it's like icing a cake is probably one of the easiest things you could do.
It's like a 5-year-old can ice a cake.
Let it out, like exactly. It's like let's let our toddler ice the cake because they won't fuck it up.
I also love that scene, by the way, because I thought the same thing. I was just like, Jesus Christ, lady! Like,
of all the tasks they're giving her, she's such a nice cake. Like, give her something more complicated, like I don't know, rolling out some gnocchi or something. Then a little hard.
I can understand, like, it's like, okay, you don't cook, so we'll order the pad thai, but like you can ice the cake. Like can I tell you my favorite scene though?
Oh yeah.
So my favorite scene is after the scene where he barges into her dorm and the roommates run into the bathroom. Like, the next morning, cut to the next morning, and it's just all these ladies doing aerobics out on the quad in the grassy knoll. And, like, Tori Spelling is completely off the beat, and they're just having so much fun. They're doing their aerobics in the morning sun with the dew evaporating off of the grass. And then all of a sudden, this young woman in a tuxedo and tails with a white bow tie rolls up looking like Tommy Wiseau.
I thought that was him. Tell who it was. I thought it was him on the bike.
I thought it was Tommy Wiseau.
It was a woman?
It was a woman, yes. Yeah.
The film was really bad.
But then she just the only line that is spoken in this entire scene, they're doing the aerobics. Mrs. Tommy Wiseau rolls up on the bike with a bouquet of roses and baby's breath. The only line that is spoken is her handing them to Tori Spelling and going, "Hey, lucky lady." And then writing out.
Interrupted the class. She was women doing aerobics. She didn't like go to the outer perimeter, summon her. She went right to the women to get them on that bike.
Hey, lucky lady. And then Tori Spelling's just like, oh.
Can I do my favorite scene?
Yes, please.
Awesome.
It sort of runs into probably our favorite characters segment, but I think my favorite scene is when real Kevin shows back up to town and fake Kevin confronts him like in like the motel parking lot, and real Kevin is like such a dick, but he's also like, what's that, Jules?
But sorry, I'm just hyping you back.
Oh.
I'm your hype man. I'm like,
he's such a dick. He's like, oh, you're in college? You didn't seem like the college type to me. We all thought you were a dumbass. And then like, he's like, and like, fake Kevin, Tori's boyfriend Kevin, is like, I guess, pretending to work at the motel, and real Kevin is like, grab my bags, bring him inside, and then they go into his hotel room, and fake Kevin just starts like taking a shower in front of him.
yes.
They're reminiscing about high school.
He
It's
taking a shower in front of this guy who he barely knew and hadn't seen in years.
talking about his dead parents.
Yeah. He's like, Billy, because fake Kevin is Billy. Billy, pass me the shampoo. Come on, man, fork it over. He's like, it's like Billy is like his little like his manservant.
And then Billy beats him to death with the toilet cover. With the top of the toilet. What is that thing called? Not the seat.
The lid?
Yes, the toilet lid.
I thought he beat him with a tire iron that he grabbed from the car.
No, he grabs the tire iron and then he puts it down. And then grabs his bags and then goes up. No, he beats him to death with the lid of the toilet.
Oh, I must have missed that. All I know is that was my favorite scene just because it was pure lunacy. fantasy. Like,
It was
everything...
insane.
It was so confusing. I loved it.
It was insane.
Jules, what were your other favorite parts? It seemed like you had a bunch.
I did. I'm glad that was definitely one of them. Kevin was such a dick to him, but then so familiar.
And then it's like you couldn't even really like think that Kevin was that much like, yeah, Kevin's a dick, but also this guy is stealing his identity and killing women like using his name.
Yeah.
So
really.
Oh man, yeah. I'm trying to think of some more.
Just strange.
I guess the only other thing I wanted to say is that so fake Kevin is an orphan.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
Real Kevin is also an orphan, but like fake Kevin is the one who talks about him being an orphan. And just when anyone is an orphan, especially that's a red flag.
What?
Orphan in a Lifetime movie is a
Oh,
red flag because they're just, you know, they have no one is accountable for who they are. Like they can just be anybody. So I just wish that she had known that.
well, we should probably discuss the ending and then maybe wrap it up because we haven't touched on AAA really. Or
Wrap
the
it
new
up. I
kids.
feel like there are like 10,000 things that need to be told.
Well, I guess what I wanted to note, and I have to give this credit to Mel, is referring to their sex as elevator sex because they always get like really hot and heavy, and then they just like descend down. It's like a classic trick. Like no man sex. We just be like, and their kissing was so
It was
loud,
so gross.
so loud and breathy. It was
Ugh.
amazing. But then they would just like, and then just like.
Because it was like, I don't know if this is like a 90s thing, but it was just like they would take their lips and just like smack and like mash their faces against each other. And it was just disgusting. It was disgusting to look at. Like, I would have been rather been watching like the most disgusting like German Scheiße porn than watch like the two of them kissing again. It's disgusting.
Is he famous? Is he from something?
He was on Jack and Jill in the 90s. Ivan Sergey.
Oh, he is. I do not like the way he looks.
No, he's not cute.
There's something. It's like he's like too perfect, or his features are like. He just grosses me out. The moment I saw him come on screen, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, no, I don't want this. Take it away.
Of course, he's an uber creep.
Do you want to speak to the last, I guess, the last sequence?
Girl.
Because the last...
Because this is when... Well, this is when my... Oh, I'm sorry. Did you ask Jules that?
Whatever.
No, I was just going to say, like, this is when the tide changed for me, because this whole movie, I was just sitting there, and, like, I'd had a long day at work, and I was like, what is this stupid movie? Tori Spelling is so stupid, and he's so stupid, and Mom's so stupid, and I'm tired of watching all these stupid people doing stupid things. But then we got to that last scene, and it changed everything for me. It changed my whole opinion of everything. And that last scene is really why I feel like we do what we do here. You know? You know, it really puts the purpose of this podcast into stark relief so that we can, you know...
Do you want to explain what happens?
Well... So after he drugs her with the jug wine or whatever that was that he served her in the mason jar, she passes out. He, for some reason, two decisions of his that I don't understand. First, she's passed out in the car. I guess he had fucked up her car and didn't know how to fix it, so he calls AAA. Using the mom's account, which she's allowed to use. The AAA guy comes, fixes the car, says, I need an account holder to sign for this. He motions to her, passed out on the front seat, says, well, I tried, but, the last time, I woke her up, she threw up all over me. He has no throw up all over him. And also, there's, like, a passed out young girl in the front seat of the car, and yet the AAA guy is just like, okay, whatever, bye. So then...
That was so horrible. It's just like, I bet that shit happens all the time.
I'm sure it does, and that's more matter for another
here's
podcast.
Your mom fantasy, though, right?
It's a what?
I said, here's where your like mom fantasy comes into
yes,
play.
Exactly.
It's like worst possible things could happen to her, and then it's like mom comes to save the day.
So then, but the other decision of his that I don't understand is after that happens, he decides that he's going to take her to her mother's cabin.
I don't understand that at all.
Yeah.
Why? And how did he know about it? How did he know how to get there? Why would he take her there?
Of all places, like literally of all places on the planet, maybe the less intelligent decision would have been to actually take her to her mother's apartment. But
why didn't he just go back to his cabin?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Why didn't he go back to his apartment? Why didn't he go to Mexico? Why didn't he go anywhere? Why go to the mom's cabin?
Yeah, it made no sense. One of the many things in this movie that made absolutely no sense. It was
insanity. So then she wakes up in the cabin. She's like, oh, we're at my mom's cabin. And even she's like, why the fuck are we at my mom's cabin? And so then he is being like super creepy and violent and tries to choke her, and then she tries to like talk him down by pretending that she's still into him, and then he essentially rapes her, which is awful.
Not essentially. I mean, he does.
Horrible. That part was so disgusting.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said essentially. He rapes her.
Yeah, they don't really show it.
No, they don't show it.
But he does it because he says to her, I'll know that you're not lying by the way you make love to me. And then he like cries and starts kissing her, and it's horrible.
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. So then after that, I guess he's tired. All of his crazy and anger spewed out, and he had to pass out. And so she grabs the car keys, but then he's right up and in her face like, where are you going?
He's a monster.
He turns into like Freddy Krueger or somebody, or like maybe that's not a great example. He turns into like a evil movie like super villain at this point, because it's as you said, he's up right away. He can swim underwater for he can hold his breath for seemingly hours at a time, which we get to in a second. But it's just so weird because he becomes like invincible at this point.
He's like Bill Cosby mixed with like one of the zombies from 28 Days Later, like just like fast moving and rapey and creepy and full of pills. Like he's just the worst.
And then does Mom show up to say, or she escapes, and then Mom, like as she's running away, Mom shows up.
She knocks him out with something, runs to the car. The car won't start again, even though AAA just fixed it.
I also didn't understand that.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
So he comes out, she knocks him out again outside the house, runs back into the house, locks all the doors, locks all the windows. Somehow, for some reason, he has a hatchet.
Yes, also wondered where that came from.
And starts, Jack Nicholson in The Shining through the door.
I legitimately thought he was going to say, "Here's Johnny." At that point,
yeah,
I really did.
That's what it seemed like. But instead, it was just like, "Baby, please, I love you. Don't leave me." And so she goes running out of the back door just as he reaches in the hole that he hacked, opens up the front door, chases after her. That's when the mom gets there, because the mom learns that they're there because she fucks up her tires and has to call AAA. And AAA is like, oh, well, that's weird. Your card was just used, like, at your cabin. And she's like, great. And so she's stunt driving through, like, the mountains. Like, total mom fantasy driving.
Yeah.
And then, so, for some reason, it's like this echoey canyon, and he's like, Laura, Laura, Laura. She can hear him just fine, can't hear when her mom is yelling out her name. And so then the mom goes out into the woods. He, like, rolls up on her all 28 days later, like, pushes her down the hill. She gets impaled on a tree.
She's not impaled, but her body is
wrapped around the tree.
Yeah.
Somehow, Tori finds herself on a pier in a lake, goes for the motorboat, can't find the keys, and that's when I'm like, there's a fucking boat chase now? Like, that's gonna be awesome! But no, she can't find the keys, so instead she gets in a canoe and starts furiously canoeing away.
Well, not really furiously, because it becomes very clear that Tori Spelling has never held a paddle in her life.
She doesn't know how to canoe. You're right. Slowly, but furiously seeming, trying to get away. And that's when this movie becomes straight up awesome, because you're like, where's Ivan Sergei? Where's Kevin? Where did he go? Well, somehow he acquired Aquaman powers and stealthily got into the water to the point, and it goes back to Kevin Cam, like his point of view, and he's under the boat, and then all of a sudden he pops up like, and then capsizes the boat, and then they're fighting in the water. Somehow she holds her breath, she goes under the dock, and he's like, Laura, Laura. And then the mom wakes up, comes down, finds her, they have an emotional reunion on the dock.
I was yelling at her at that point, and like, keep going, he's not done yet, like, get the fuck out of there. They're like, I'm here for you. But it's like, he's still out there, and he will kill both of you.
Like, he's not... Well, and while they're hugging and having this emotional reunion...
Yet again, there was no... He didn't, like, come out of the water loudly, which you think he would have. He just appeared on the dock.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, what's up?
Out of nowhere. Like, you have to drag yourself up out of the water to get on the dock, and you're also wearing clothes that weigh a ton because they're soaking wet.
It's in the Pacific Northwest, so they're wearing sweaters and jeans. Everyone is wearing sweaters and jeans.
Tori was wearing a hot pink sweater, which was like, she was just a bullseye the whole time. We're running through the woods. It's like everything was green except for this hot pink bullseye running through the woods. I'm like, Tori, take off your goddamn sweatshirt. You can see her from a mile away. Everyone's confused.
So then, in one last attempt to get away from him, she pulls a little bit of, like, trickery, where she's just like, you were right the whole time. My mother was trying to tear us apart. And then, like, he's like, I knew it. And then she, like, hits him in the... She, like, grabs the...
No. What she does is she's... That hot pink sweater that Jules was talking about was very oversized and baggy. Somehow, she managed to get that oar that she was flailing with earlier, somehow she managed to hide that entire oar under her sweater, and at this moment pushes Mom out of the way, in one fluid motion, pushes Mom out of the way, takes the oar out from under her sweater, and whacks him hard enough that he goes over the railing and into the water.
Doubles over the railing and into the water.
And then he's done.
Well, he's
supposedly.
Because the final scene of the movie, much like... This movie had a lot of things in common with that Christopher Maloney movie. Because much like that, the final scene is... It's a college camp. Am I missing something?
Well, yes. Because before that happens, they're sitting on the dock for... So he goes into the water. The water's still. Who knows? Da-da-da-da. What happened to him? He's probably not dead because this is like a horror movie or... Well, not a horror movie, but whatever, a suspense movie. So clearly he's not dead. But they just literally stand there for maybe like 30 seconds. Nothing happens. They're hugging. And then they look at each other and they go, he's gone. Cut to the next scene.
Okay, and then the final scene is it's like a college campus. It's a nice summer day. Like a girl and a guy like kiss each other, and you can't see his face, and then it like pans up, and he's got longer hair.
He looks like Adrian Grenier, and she's walking with her two.
Wait, what did you just say?
He looks like Adrian Grenier.
I thought that.
He does.
Yeah.
I was like, is that where did he come from? And then I realized, yeah, I was like, what the hell? Because he looks just like him.
But no, she's walking with her friend, like this other random girl on this random college campus, and like her friend is like, "What are you doing tonight?" And she's like, "I'm going out with Christian." And then Kevin, dressed as Adrian Grenier, comes up and like kisses her, and then the cycle begins again.
And the end.
Which
It's a great movie.
But I just don't understand, like, Tori Spelling and her mom, just, like, 30 seconds. They gave it about 30 seconds, and we all know that he has Superman powers.
Yes. Yeah. It's over now. I'm like, no, it's not!
Like, at all.
He surprised you 10 seconds ago. He's gonna do it again. Get out of there!
And so clearly, like, let me just, I just want to game out, like, just sort of what happened with Tori and her mom after that. So, presumably, they called the police, they said this crazy stalker man tried to kill my daughter, and he's drowned in the lake. They never found the body, so Tori just must be living in fear for the rest of her life.
Well, who knows? So many other movies we've watched have bits and pieces in this. It's like when lies he told faked his death, and they never bothered searching for a body. He's gone. He's gone.
Almost that again. Also,
we should.
Christopher Maloney movie you keep referencing because I love Agent Stabler. I know I just forget. I know you guys watched this one when I wasn't around, but I have to watch it.
We have an episode up of it. It was called Dangerous Affair.
A Dangerous Affair, yeah.
I think it's the episode we published prior to this one.
Yeah, it was the last one we did.
Excellent. Really excellent.
It made me really angry. Like, at the beginning of the episode, we referenced, like, an hour-long conversation that we had before we, like...
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, this was like a year ago that we recorded it, but I remember that conversation because I was so mad afterwards because, like, it is the most misogynist thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it's insane.
To our listeners out there, check out that episode. Good movie.
It's
highly
awesome.
entertaining.
What's it called? Tell me the name of it.
A Dangerous Affair.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you said that. My apologies.
Should we start wrapping this up? Do you want to get into favorite characters?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know who mine is. Somebody else go first.
Okay. Jules, do you want to start? I can start.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, this movie was actually really difficult for me to have a favorite character because really there was really only 3 people in it for 98%, which was Tori Spelling, her mother, and Kevin. So I overstepped what I was going to say earlier because I think my favorite character is real Kevin, just because he's just like this loudish asshole, and I don't know. I don't have much more to say to it than we already said. Just the fact that he was just like, I'm going to take a shower now while you hand me things. Like,
well, real Kevin was such an enigma because
I didn't understand real Kevin.
So he's introduced to us. He's driving his Jeep along, the highway, and he's making a reservation. And at first you're just like, what is this random shot of this guy making a hotel reservation? What? And that's it. He's just in his car making a hotel reservation on his giant 1996 cell phone. The next time we see him, again, he's in his Jeep, and he's getting pulled over, and exposition cop comes up to him and is like, and it's like, do you know why I pulled you over? And he's like, yeah, because I was going too fast, but, I'm really excited to be back home because, I was in Alaska for 6 months because, my parents died, and now I'm coming back to go back to college, da-da-da-da-da. And then we figure out that bad Kevin has been catfishing as real Kevin. And then, but he seems like a nice guy, you feel bad for him. His parents are dying, he had to take some time for himself in Alaska. He seems like a nice person, but, I guess that's what happens when white people get pulled over by the cops. You sympathize with them. I'm sorry, Black Lives Matter.
I was like, they're so fucking friendly and kind to this white traveler. He's not going to move at all.
But anyway,
be on your day.
This is
on your way, son.
I'm just going to give you a warning, son. But this is not that podcast.
I like that, but you're from me. Get out of here.
But then it turns out that he's just another rich, white, entitled asshole at the motel, and it's just like, Kevin, I thought you were...
Billy. Like,
where's the shampoo, Billy? Stand next to me while I shower. I haven't seen you in 20 years, and we're really friends then.
Hand me my shampoo, Billy. Oh my god, that's a toilet lid in my face.
So weird.
That was so weird.
Yeah, that was odd.
The way that Billy closed the door as going to the shower with like such flourish, I was like, does Kevin think that Billy left? And then no, Billy follows him into the bathroom and Kevin is completely comfortable with it.
Yeah, very strange.
I thought the same thing.
Girl you were dating. What? Okay, pass me the shampoo.
Okay, that's another thing that I sort of wanted to touch on. Okay, so...
Oh boy.
Here's the timeline as I see it. So they used to be in Colorado, Billy and Kevin. 2 years ago, Kevin's parents died in an avalanche in Austria while skiing.
While helicopter skiing.
Excuse me.
Thank you for saying that. I wrote that down and I fucking forgot to say it.
Died in a tragic helicopter skiing.
While copter skiing, yes. Excuse me. So that happened 2 years ago. So they were together in high school 2 years ago. Yes. So this girl went missing 2 years ago in Colorado. But Billy has only been in Alaska for 6 months. So presumably, when he asks Billy about his girlfriend, he knows and was there in Colorado when she went missing and knows that Billy was a suspect in her disappearance. So why would he ask in such a jocular way if he's seen her, unless he's like the ultimate dick?
I don't think there's much point in trying to figure out timelines or much else in this movie.
The writers haven't thought about this. They have not thought this through.
Because there was one other thing that I actually forgot that I wanted to touch on since we're getting a little bit off topic from favorite characters. There's the scene where mom goes, she finds Billy Billy's /fake Kevin's apartment, and I guess the super just like lets her in, and she's like snooping around and doesn't find anything, and then she leaves the apartment, and right out front of his door there's a trash can, and
full
on
of
the
secrets.
at the very top of the trash can there's a picture of his ex-girlfriend, the very same picture that's also in the police department in Denver when she goes there. So A, he's got a garbage can just right outside of his apartment.
As you
and
do.
B, he's got a picture of his ex-girlfriend laying face up, like right on top of it. And I just didn't really understand that.
That was curious. That was it. But I was thinking that maybe that was like the super, like leaving that trash can there because he was cleaning stuff out of his apartment.
Okay.
But maybe I'm giving them too much credit.
I don't know.
There were so many things in this.
I mean, I also don't really. I guess like if I have to choose, I guess I would choose like the mom.
She had some funny, clever moments, like when she threw the takeout containers into the kitchen
and the whole icing of the cake thing.
Yeah.
But I really felt like her. The way she like searched for her daughter, like she flew to Denver when her daughter was missing.
Yeah.
Like at one point, she was like, I don't know, just
it was
her her methods were a little curious, but I think her heart was in the right place, and she ended up saving the day. And she knew the bad news, and she proved it. So props to Mom. Mom fantasy all around.
Realized. Absolutely.
Rocky, you have a favorite character? It is a hard movie for a favorite character.
I have to say, I think maybe not favorite character, but favorite performance.
Okay.
Was the med school admissions officer.
Oh, he turned the pants off of her.
Yes, he did. And I just feel like the acting in that scene, because he goes to her office and she's like, oh, well, this is strange. There's somebody else named Kevin Shane who we're holding a spot for next semester. And she's all like, I got you, Buster. And he's all like, oh, well, maybe, it's a really common name, Kevin Shane. And she's like, well, then why did he send your high school transcripts? And he's all like, oh, well, you know what? It's just, I applied for a supplemental scholarship over at such and such, and they sent the wrong paperwork over, those idiots. And she's like, really? Finger on her cheek. And she's like, really? And he's like, well, when this all gets cleared up, I'll take you both out for dinner. And the way she's just instantly disarmed and just like, I that was a beautiful little scene for that actress. So I'll give it.
And I think it was supposed to demonstrate his charm, which we never saw until that scene.
Because
charm with Tori Spelling.
Yeah,
why wouldn't you show them meeting?
Acting like a fucking asshole and a scary jerk, and then saying I'm so sorry, baby. Here's some flowers. That's not cutting it. I don't buy it.
I don't understand why they wouldn't show us them meeting, so we have a baseline for how charming he can be, because to me it's not all that charming when he goes all roid rage in her dorm room, and then the next day sends a drag king dressed as Tommy Wiseau to give her flowers. That's not... And it's supposed to be evidence of his charm. I guess the card that he sent along with the flowers that she read, not out loud, but that she just read silently, was very awe-inducing. But,
it's a ludicrous movie.
It's insane.
A ludicrous movie
it's
with
insane.
Terrible acting, writing, directing, cinematography, editing, top to bottom. Anyway, so on that note, would we recommend this movie, Rocky?
Yes, because the last 15 minutes made me laugh more than I've laughed in weeks.
Okay. Jules, recommend?
Yeah, definitely.
I would too.
Get drunk and watch it with one of your friends.
Oh, yeah, for me this is one of my favorite lifetimes ever, honestly. I'm surprised that none of us had seen it. Rocky, I applaud you for choosing this one.
I didn't choose it, you chose it.
No, I didn't. You chose this.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh.
But it was weird because for those of people listening to this, if you do want to watch this, if you search for the name for Mother May I Sleep with Danger, YouTube links to the top link is to the wrong movie. It links to the movie with Candace Cameron and
Fred
Savage. And it's the wrong movie. So be sure you're looking for the right one. No, Rocky, you definitely recommended this one. For me, this is Mother Doe's best territory. This is just a great movie.
We still haven't released that episode. We need to get on it.
So good.
It's 2 hours long, and it's just daunting, the thought of editing it.
This one's going to be up there too,
But it's the best movie we've ever done. Besides this one.
It was a great movie.
It was a great movie. It really was. Maybe should I just put out the whole 2 hours? Do you think our listeners would like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, grab some popcorn, make an evening out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think whatever you're doing, if you're listening to this one, please watch Mother May I Sleep with Danger. I was highly entertained for all 100 20 minutes of it. Not just the last 15.
No, it was just an hour and 20 minutes.
What'd I say?
120 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was 80 minutes of it. I was thinking an hour 20.
It is only 80 minutes, you guys. It is not a major
It feels short though too.
Yes, blessedly.
All right, you want to wrap this up?
All right. Well, this has been Time of My Lifetime. And this was so much fun, as always, discussing this movie with my two wonderful friends. So thank you for joining me, lovely and talented Jordan W. And what did I say? Scruffy and grumpy Jules?
Yes.
And, because now I've remembered to do this, follow us on Twitter at @TimeLifetime. And follow our Tumblr at, does anybody remember what our Tumblr is called?
No.
Whatever, just search for Time of a Lifetime, and there'll be all sorts of things for you to do there, and like, and
please subscribe.
Yes,
Right.
what he said, subscribe to our channel, because we've got big things. We're gonna buy microphones so this doesn't sound so shitty, and move to iTunes and all those things, and that could only happen with your help and support. So, we love you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. And for Jules and Jordan, this is Rocky saying bye. Erff.
May I sleep with danger.